Lords of the Fallen releases in just a couple days, and because I am so excited for it, I went ahead and put together a list of things that you should know to prepare you for launch. One of the most important aspects of a full-priced game is how much content you're going to get with it. So let's check out a small breakdown that the developers recently released. In Lords of the Fallen, there are 13 starting classes in the game, each of them with their own armor set, starting stats, weapons, and items. 4 of those 13 being secret unlockable classes, and we'll go over what those are in a moment. There's 194 weapons and shields, 60 spells with 16 catalysts, and 339 armor pieces. There's also 30 bosses to challenge and 3 unique endings that you can get. Based on these numbers and the trailers that have come out recently, it seems like there'll be plenty of cool unique boss fights and enough loot to go with it. I'm really looking forward to some of the weapons we've already seen teased, but let's not forget that fashion is equally important, which brings us back to the starting classes, each of which have their own unique look as you'd expect. The art book that is included with the Deluxe and Collector's Edition shows 12 of the 13 starting classes, and thanks to some folks on Reddit, we're able to figure out which ones are the secret unlockable ones not available right away. Only 12 are shown on this page, and that's because the 13th is the Dark Crusader set, which is available to you immediately if you pre-order the Deluxe Edition, otherwise you'll have to discover it during your playthrough. The secret classes include the Umbral class, the Radiance class, and the Infernal class, which match up with the 3 different types of magic in the game, Umbral, Radiance, and Inferno, aka Rogar. As mentioned in the gameplay overview from the devs, Lords of the Fallen has full co-op, allowing you and one other player to explore the world and fight bosses together. You can invite a friend through one of the vestiges around the map or by using a password. The password method is how you'll access CrossPlay, allowing you to connect to players on PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles. The devs have stated that this crossplay works between PC and console, but not between both consoles themselves. They also wanted to implement cross-progression, but said they'd need to require players to create a Hexworks account in order to make that work, and they wanted to avoid forcing players to have to do that extra step, so there is no cross-progression at this time. Besides playing with a friend, you can also summon a random player to join your game or join a random player's game. You also have the option to leave it up to the matchmaking, entering the queue as a potential host or a potential ally. As is standard with Souls-like games, when you're playing online with someone else, the host's game world will reflect their progress in the story, so your co-op partner won't be advancing their own story. However, they will keep any items, levels, achievements, and currency they earn when they eventually return to their own world. Your co-op partner can also collect items dropped by enemies such as weapons, consumables, armor, and shields, and they even have access to the merchants and the blacksmith when in your world. What they cannot access, however, is world loot such as hidden objects, items found in chests, and some boss loot. Thankfully though, you have the option to drop items for your partner and vice versa, which is a great way to share loot that you've earned. Invasions are also present in the game, allowing one person at a time to hunt online players, and while an invasion is taking place, the computer-controlled enemies will recognize the invader as an ally, and cooperate with them in their attempt to defeat the host. While playing normal co-op, the non-host player will be treated as an ally, relinquishing their ability to switch realms at will and being forced into said realms when the host decides to. If you die, you'll enter spectator mode and can wait for your teammate to resurrect you either on the spot or at a nearby vestige. This is a bit different from the way dying works in a solo playthrough. If you're traversing Axiom solo and you're killed, you'll be resurrected in Umbral, giving you a chance to make it back alive by reaching a vestige, which can also be manually created one at a time at a significant resource cost. Within this Umbral realm, you can find secrets, characters, treasures, and endless waves of enemies that slowly get more difficult the longer you're there. Your XP multiplier also increases by sticking around in Umbral, allowing you to farm levels much faster than normal. If a player is killed in the world, their lamps will remain scattered around the game. Another player can choose to avenge them by interacting with a fallen player's lamp and following a trail of moths leading to the killer. These high-value targets will be tougher than normal enemies, and when defeated, grants you with an item that you can redeem at shrines for unique rewards. There are 3 different shrines for the 3 factions I mentioned earlier, the Umbral, Radiant, and Rogar, and they reward you with loot like unique sets, gestures, and colors for your armor. However, these shrines also operate sort of like community events, where the collective player base needs to contribute their offerings to each faction to advance through different tiers, unlocking more content that wasn't available at the start. Playing Lords of the Fallen offline is also an option, but doing so will disable co-op, invasions, the revenge system, and the faction shrines. Let's take some time to expand more on those 3 schools of magic I keep mentioning. In order to use a spell, you'll need a catalyst, which is imbued with either Umbral, Radiant, or Rogar magic. The more you level up, the larger your mana pool, and the more you're able to invest into Radiant and Rogar, aka Inferno, to increase your available spells and their power. And wielding Umbral magic requires upgrading both Radiant and Inferno. What's cool about the spell system in this game is that you can cast them even in the middle of a combo, allowing for more fluid combat and more options for up-close attacks. But are you able to use spells that bosses use? To that, the developers have answered, yes, it is important for us that anything you can see in our game, you can use it yourself. Provided you've collected a boss's unique lore item, once you defeat that boss, you'll unlock their signature spell. And according to the developer journal they posted, it specifically says this goes for all bosses that you face. Many of the weapons also scale well with magic-related stats, allowing you to explore a more buildcraft side of the game. This is further expanded upon by the introduction of runes, which are rare drops from enemies that can be slotted into your weapons and shields to empower them and add new effects. So I think that's a pretty good rundown of the essential stuff so far. Upon release, there will be many more details to share, so if you want to keep up to date with the game and are looking forward to guides on it, stay tuned to the channel for more videos. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know in the comments if you're excited for the game.
Your head back.